July of this year was something of a disastrous month for the gaming industry, and anyone who closely follows this stuff probably knows the reasons why. I'll get into it a little bit later in this video, but I want to mention at the top that this is in no way a fluke of a month. This is not some sort of one-off situation. The gaming industry has been struggling for years for a variety of reasons, including chip shortages, AI-induced memory price hikes, and the general consensus that the decades-long race to make the most graphically impressive games might have finally reached its underwhelming end. But there just must have been something in the water in Silicon Valley this month. In what is probably a total coincidence, two of the biggest game publishers and hardware developers, Sony and Microsoft, made announcements that turned public opinion against them in ways that would have felt impossible only 7 years ago. But even in the midst of this bloodbath, Nintendo seems to be doing just fine. And just this month, they have proved once again that their strategy just seems to work. And that strategy can be clearly seen in their two flagship game releases this month, Rhythm Heaven Groove and Splatoon Raiders. Rhythm Heaven Groove was something of a low-key release. I mean, when you look at the footage of the game, it's hard to claim that it took too big of a bite out of the Nintendo development budget. But Rhythm Heaven's value as a series is not found in fancy graphics. Instead, it's found in the unique rhythm gameplay and excellent and catchy music. Groove is the first entry in the series since 2015 on the Nintendo 3DS. And reception for this game has been very, very positive so far. And as someone who has played it, I can definitely attest to this. It has much more content than any past Rhythm Heaven game, and it does much more than the bare minimum for a budget title. There is just a ton of extra content to be found, from mastering every stage, getting perfects, getting rainbow perfects and all that stuff, including anonymous developer stories, which they included, which remind you of the humans behind everything, which is a refreshing sight in today's AI-filled world. The series' original developer, despite suffering from throat cancer, still came back to work on this game and even brought his daughter back to sing on one of the tracks, which is pretty cool. And without spoiling anything, there are some stages in this game that are genuinely hilariously stupid, and I love them. As I played, I could imagine the developers giggling to themselves on The Office, which is something I always love to picture in my head. This game maybe won't be for everyone, but as you play, it's impossible to ignore the sheer amount of heart that was put into it. And best of all, it's not even a Switch 2 exclusive. You would think that Nintendo would want to stop releasing games on the old system as soon as possible to get people to switch platforms, but no. All 150 or so million Switch owners have the opportunity to play this shockingly delightful game. Big publishers hardly ever make smaller games like these nowadays, so seeing Nintendo place this game in the spotlight just makes me happy for the future. But on July 23rd, Nintendo released a much more high-profile game, which is this one right here, Splatoon Raiders. Outside of the three main Splatoon games, this is the first time Splatoon has had a fully single-player spin-off release, and it is glorious. The game is just way too fun, and everywhere you go online, people are saying the exact same thing. Raiders is a fully fleshed out version of Salmon Run from the main games, finally making the mode feel as grand as it could have always been. There's insane levels of customization and tons of fun gadgets and weapons. You can basically play the whole game by yourself or with friends, and the general visual style plus music are basically as good as the series gets. Splatoon has always had a multiplayer focus, so this game is perfect for those who love the mechanics but would rather stay offline. As Splatoon's first game on the Switch 2, it makes a great impression and has probably created even more fans eager for Splatoon 4. And you know what might be the best thing about these two games? Both of them are below full price. Look, I was there last April when Nintendo revealed that Mario Kart World would be $80. That was not pretty. Probably one of the worst PR decisions of the decade, as far as I'm concerned. But lately, Nintendo has been releasing more games at lower price points. Splatoon Raiders only costs $50 on the eShop and $60 for a physical copy. And Rhythm Heaven is only $40. Now, yeah, it's definitely true that there are dozens of indie games releasing just this year, which cost significantly less than that, and you might enjoy more. But we're talking about major AAA game studios here, which have always been more expensive than indies, but in 2026 seems to be reaching a breaking point. Every console manufacturer has had to raise prices due to AI companies, including Nintendo. But unlike Nintendo, these manufacturers are also making generationally poor decisions, which are totally within their control. The news of the month, if you haven't heard already, has been Sony's decision to fully eliminate physical PlayStation games starting in 2028. Something many of us have seen coming for years, but to finally see it happen is truly sobering, to be honest. This move is purely anti-consumer. There's just no way around it. What this means for game preservation is completely unclear, but the outlook is not great. And the used game market for PS6, it's just not going to be a thing. It just won't exist. You won't be able to go to GameStop and get a used PS6 game. And then you have Xbox, whose new CEO is now conducting massive corporate restructuring, resulting in thousands of jobs lost as console sales remain embarrassingly low. Valve, the people behind Steam, they're more in the good graces of the community, but that hasn't stopped prices of Steam Deck and Steam Machine to reach truly eye-watering levels. I mean, who's paying $1,000 for that? It's not even as good as a PS5. Seeing all this unfold in front of us makes Nintendo sitting in the corner and saying, here's a funny little rhythm game, and here's a funny little squid game, honestly kind of wholesome. This is obviously not to say that Nintendo is somehow uniquely benevolent. It's still a giant corporation at the end of the day, and Switch 2 is definitely not a budget purchase. And yeah, it's gonna be going up to $500 in September, so if you want to get one, you should probably do that now. But these days, I'm feeling even more confident in their strategy of playing the long game, not reacting to industry trends, not conducting mass layoffs, paying their executives relatively low salaries compared to those in the West, and still centering their mission on the human craft of creating quality video games. There's been a lot of chatter online about if the Switch 2 has really proved itself yet. Lots of people aren't impressed by the lineup of exclusives yet, and are waiting for a big new Zelda or Mario or Pokemon. And I share the view that the last Direct was weirdly quiet on first-party games, even though Switch Sports Resort will probably sell 30 bajillion copies. I understand these criticisms, especially when compared to the bombastic start to the Switch 1 generation, but one must consider how different the situation was back then, and why it's not really in Nintendo's best interests to go too hard with game releases right now, since sales are still looking good for the most part. But if you choose to look at what we have instead of what we don't have, I honestly think it's hard to complain. And though the timing is mostly a coincidence, Nintendo releasing 2 great games in a month where the rest of the industry is in a complete crisis is a poetic example of Nintendo's excellent position as we head into this deeply uncertain time, and our excellent position as people who just love playing video games.